Oh, yeah. Mmm. Oh, God.
Join the team.
Hey, theMCGuiRE Review, and today we're going to take a look at Dungeons & Dragons Onslaught. Now, this is a Wizkids game. We've covered this already on the channel, so if you are interested in what the base game has to offer, you can find that video here on the channel. This is their first, what I would call, big box expansion. Now, we're not going to go over exactly like everything about this game. If you are interested in exactly how the game plays out and what the game's all about, again, watch that initial Onslaught video where we cover all of that. However, if you are interested in expansions, and again, they have got a ton of expansions for this game at this point, but most of them have been offered like this, okay? And I do keep everything in the boxes so I can keep it kind of organized. But they're these smaller boxes like this, or they are... and again, we've got a lot of expansions. Or they're boxes that are like this, okay? Where you get like a whole new squad and the die and the counters and everything, right? To build out the characters that you can use when you take on, you know, a different team as you're trying to go through and accomplish your goal against your opponent. All right. Now, I need this because I'm gonna say something about this here in a second, and we've already covered this as well. However, this is their first big box expansion. As you can see, it is a box that I believe is about the exact same size as the base. I think it is the exact same size as the actual base game. And it is called Nightmare of the Frogmire Coven. And I think they did a great job with it. I love the fact that they went with kind of this theme, and they really nailed it as far as like a release timing as well for this, kind of hitting into the fall there. Now, it does indicate this is an expansion. It does require the base game to play, okay? This is not... I know sometimes they're big like this and think, oh, it's probably a standalone expansion. It's not a standalone expansion. You do need Onslaught, the base game, to be able to play this expansion, but you'll get a ton of stuff. You'll get a bunch of models and minis, and we'll get those out here, and Bear hit them with the mini cam. It is 90 plus minutes, age 14 plus, and 2 to 4 players. I'm not sure on the ages sometimes. My kids are younger than that. At least one of them is younger than that, and can play this just fine. Okay, it is still marked as 2 players. However, there is one of the scenarios in here that is like a 3 to 4 player team based kind of thing. There's also a solo scenario that is included in here. So let's just go ahead and get in the box really quick, and we'll be hitting this stuff up close with the cam. One of the things I wanted to call out, and this is the reason why I left it like... I actually store it like this. They have massively improved the way that this game is packaged into the box. Now, if you remember from the base game, there was... I don't know, I wouldn't say it was the best the way it was all kind of packaged in there. They did a much, much better job with this big box. So you do have your rules that are right on top. And it's really not the rules... The rules for the base game are in the base game. All this really is it tells you what this expansion is about, and then it just goes through each one of the scenarios. Okay, so we've got 2, 3, and it lays it out really nice with the map and all the detail you'll need. 4 scenarios, 5 scenarios. The 6th scenario is when you actually combat the Froghemoth there, and then there is that's called Paddle Royale, which is really cool. 3 to 4 player scenario where you're in teams, and that's a really cool scenario the way they have that set up. And then there is the Plague, which is the solo scenario that you can play through from a solo perspective. And you know, obviously, anything you do solo, you can kind of play cooperatively as well. So that's how they have it designed there. That's what you're going to get there in the book. And then one thing I thought was nice is they included this little sample terrain sheet here where it shows it's just a nice thicker cardboard that kind of shows the base setup of the terrain on the board that you're going to get, and it is a double-sided board. It included these little wax paper things here to protect the board. There's a little piece here you can remove, and you do get a new board, nice big board. Okay, it is a 6-panel. Okay, and you'll see there on one side you get that. And then on the other side, you get more of kind of like the watery, swampy area. On this side, the swampy area with kind of the ruins. So two really cool new locations that obviously, once you have a few of these boards, you can set up your own scenarios, your own battles, whatever. But you get two new boards, which is awesome. And then you're going to get a bunch of different things like these little kind of boardwalks that you would kind of set up, little docks and different things you would set up. Most of the punch out's going to be this kind of stuff right here. You will get one new dial. And one of the things I wanted to call out from a quality review perspective is they have definitely been paying attention, not just in my videos, but so it's covered in a lot of different videos of how loose these little dials were, where all you'd have to do is just bump it and all the dials would move. These dials are nice and tight on this. You really have to turn it to get it, and it just locks right in where you want it to go. And you can bump it, bump it, bump it, bump it. These numbers are going nowhere. The dials are not moving. So that's a big improvement to these. So I was really happy to see that on that dial. And then I did kind of pop these out. I've got mine in little baggies already. There is not extra little baggies that are included in here. I will say that. So there is these little bags here were mine, and I just put there's some like health tokens that your standard stuff. There's different statuses like rooted and poisoned and whatnot that are in here, like you would have had from the base game. And then there's a couple tokens here that represent like the zombies and different things that are within this game. There is a small number, and I keep these because I generally will put them back around them. There's a small number of little cards here where you'll get, items and loot and things like that you would use when you outfit your characters. And then you have your standard cards here where you have your initiative. They take you up to initiative 11, 12 cards. And then you have the cards for the various different enemies that are in the game, okay? So that's pretty much all you're going to get from a component perspective outside of the new miniatures, which are fantastic in this expansion. One of the things I thought was very cool, and I love to see this go forward, is each miniature came in a little waxy kind of plastic bag protected with the name of the miniature on it. So I thought that was pretty cool. It was a way to do a better job, I think, protecting these little miniatures when you kind of put them back down in there so they don't get bumped around and scratched or scraped. They still technically could get bent, but this does protect them a lot more and give them a lot more padding around them so they won't end up getting damaged. And it's cool they printed the name of it right on it. So I definitely would recommend if you get this expansion, keep these. Don't just throw them away as like trash. Keep these because you can store your models back in it. Okay, models look fantastic. I mean, just like any of the Wizkids expansions that they have right now, the models look, or any of the Wizkids, miniatures that they have right now, the models look fantastic. So they're painted up really well. I would call this more of like their premium grade offering on the paint job. They look a little bit better, I would say, than your base, just kind of pull it out of the pack models. So that's pretty cool. We will get all of them out because I want everybody to kind of see what we're working with here. I'll build this off camera and you'll be able to see it on the mini cam there. There's a number of, these are really cool, these here. Those are bases, actually. They're bases for these little tentacles. You'll have to find the right one that matches with it, but these little tentacles will kind of go in these bases like that, right? So it kind of looks like they're busting up out of the water, which was a nice little effect to add, And then here's the big Froghemoth, the Frogmire. This is a great model, and the paint job is fantastic. I mean, it just looks so good on the table, all built out. So I am very impressed with this particular expansion. It's exactly what they needed. I loved the little addition of the little frogmen. You can't really get much cooler than little spear-throwing frogmen. And you get those in the expansion as well. Okay, so that's all the models that you're going to get. These 4 main models, the 3 frogmen, and then the big Froghemoth here that we can build out. Oh yeah, good luck finding that. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here we go. We've got it sort of all put together there. And you can see how awesome and dynamic that model is. And what's cool about this is these little pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 for each one of the tentacles, and then another little lower one for like just the little like eyes. So as you're doing the scenarios, and I don't want to give too much away, but obviously different pieces will be kind of revealed and will pop up, and then all of a sudden at the end, right, like you have to battle the big boy, the big frog boy. So that's how that's going to work. Awesome expansion. Highly recommend it. Now, if you want to get into Onslaught, which I would recommend doing because it is a really fun, well-designed game, this is what I would do. I would get the base game, I would get this expansion, and I would get this expansion. And that, in my opinion, is going to give you everything that you would need to play and have fun over and over and over again with the base core part of the game. You're going to get all the scenarios in the base game. You're going to get the scenarios in the story that's part of this game. And then this here is going to give you a bunch more scenarios to be able to create with your core components and continue to play. Now, that does suggest that you pick up certain types of like models and miniatures you can proxy, or if you already have Dungeons & Dragons models around, you can use them in this. If you already have a bunch of these Dungeons & Dragons or Wizkids models, you can proxy anything you want in these games and add all kinds of flavor and flair and have a lot of fun with it. All this kind of stuff that you get, right, this is just like more factions, more different groups you can play and control. Is it necessary? Not really, right? It's necessary if you want to like continue to build out and play different groups, and you play it so many times you get tired and you want a new team, right? Then yeah, sure, pick up one of these and have a new team. But if you want to experience what this game has to offer, you really only need, in my opinion, those 3 components. This expansion, this little box here, and the base game. And you're going to have enough to play for a long time, I would say, back and forth, and play a lot of different scenarios of this game. Because you're going to want to play those individual scenarios over and over again as well, because they're really fun the way they play out, and they can play out different ways, depending on which side you play, which team you play. Just another go at it is going to give you a different experience. All right? So that is the brand new expansion from Wizkids for Onslaught. You can get it now if you want to check it out. And with that, team, keep rolling them crits. It's been the McGuire Review, and we'll see you next time.